Hi, I'm Natalie Jill, fat loss expert turned high performance coach. When odds are stacked against us, how do we shift and create everything from nothing? How do we level up when we aren't feeling it yet or we've had a big setback? On this podcast, I'll be talking to some of the most inspiring and courageous men and women on this planet who, at their worst, learned how to achieve success greater than they ever dreamed possible, leveling up and creating everything from nothing. Just a few years ago, Nathan Ray Ortega had been fired from nearly 16 jobs for daydreaming. He was homeless, living in a car, and had a pregnant girlfriend. He may have been homeless, but he definitely was not hopeless. Nathan had a vision and he was determined. He started listening to podcasts to change his mindset. Today, Nathan Ray Ortega is the founder of Influencer Podcast, which helps spread powerful stories of the few to impact the lives of the many by helping influencers and entrepreneurs such as Ed Mylett, Morel, Sam Bakhtiar, who control over 30 million worth of services and products. Join us today and meet Nathan Ortega and see how he levels up and created everything from nothing. So excited to talk to you, Nathan, today because Nathan is the person behind the scenes with so many of the big brands that we hear on many of the podcasts that we're seeing on TV shows lately. He's basically the PR behind some of the powerful stories of these amazing, amazing brands that have just come out of, it seems like they've come out of nowhere. Nathan, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So Nathan, I just love who you represent and the people that you have introduced me to. And I could not believe when I started digging into your story and where you came from, that you were homeless living in a car and you just had a dream really to bring these successful stories out to the masses. Can you take me back to how this even started?
Yeah, definitely. How this all started was I was 20 years old. I had a pregnant girlfriend at the time. I now have a newborn daughter, 2 months and a half. But at the time, I would listen to podcast interviews every single morning. No matter, if I was homeless, I would sleep on top of the hill with my pregnant girlfriend, every single night for a good 2 months. And I remember just looking over to my right side to the passenger seat of my girlfriend wrapped up, in a blanket and seeing her cold breath just of mist just evaporating within the air and seeing the windows fog up. And I would turn on the car just to keep some heat inside the car while also trying to save on gas as well. I remember every single morning we would go and park at a public park so we could open a trunk full of clothes within our trunk to actually go and change in the public bathrooms.
Okay, so wait, back up, Nathan. So first of all, you're in your early 20s right now. Mm-hmm. How do you end up homeless with a pregnant girlfriend? Like, how did that even happen?
I got fired from my 15th job at age 20, basically. And I was a busser at this restaurant called Anthony's. Okay. And once I got fired, I tried applying for more jobs. And this is actually in the summer. So when it comes to summertime, practically every single job is booked. Like they're not accepting any more employees at the time. And I remember when I even applied at McDonald's. And McDonald's even told me, hey, sorry, we're jam-packed. We don't have any more room to hire new employees. So at the time, I was like, okay, well, what do I do? There was no job willing to hire me. And my track record at the time for jobs, 15 jobs, who's going to want to hire someone who has 15 previous jobs?
And you had that thought in your head. You had this thought in your head. I've had all these jobs. No, okay. Did you, family, friends, nobody to go stay with or your girlfriend?
It was a time where both of our families, they were jam-packed within their homes. And we didn't want to basically, we knew the state that we were at. We were so much in love with each other that was a state that we were at. And the only way that we were going to make it is if we do it on our own. And so that's kind of why we didn't really choose to be homeless, but that was a state that we were at. And the only way to get out of that was, to find a way. And like, that was us finding a way.
Interesting. So it's not like you planned to be homeless. It's not like you moved out of somewhere, but you find yourself sitting in this car, literally sleeping in a car, closed back, pregnant girlfriend. Mm-hmm. How do you even create from there? I mean, how does it even start?
Well, there's only one way, and that's up. So no matter what you do, you're always going to go up from that point, from that start. And when you're homeless, that's actually an opportunity. That's the best opportunity anyone could ever receive, because there's only one way, and it's up. And by doing that is believing in yourself, trying as hard as you can to find a way. And my way was just, okay, what type of job do I want right now that's going to help me to get me in this home that I need for me and my small family that's starting. Within a month of applying at multiple different jobs, this job came up. It was a bank job at Banner Bank. And I started a beginning teller position at Banner Bank. And going on from there, I still had this dream of, creating my own business. And so my 16th job at age 20, I would go out and actually network myself with people online, trying to create this business of mine that I've always wanted to create. Ever since through listening to podcasts every single morning, motivating me, listening to 30-minute podcasts, I wanted to help, like these podcasts helped me stay in my level of energy so that I would not quit.
So back up a bit. So how did you even know about podcasts? Where did that come about? So you're in a car homeless and you're 15, 16 jobs now. And what makes you think, I need to start listening to podcasts every morning? And how did you even know who to listen to, what to pick?
People with powerful stories, and the podcasts to pick were millionaires, basically millionaires telling their stories. Learn from the people who you want to become. And, those podcasts were Grant Cardone at the time, Ty Lopez at the time, Drama, all of these famous podcasts that interview famous people. I wanted to become like one of those famous people. I wanted to like live their life. And the only way to do that was to actually hear within the interview on how they think and the problems that they have. And then how do they overcome those problems and where they're at today by solving those problems.
Yeah. So that's such advanced thinking. And I just commend you so much for that because, I always say that a couple of things. One, success leaves trails, which you realize in podcasts. And, but two, the only thing holding us back from where we are right now and where we want to go is our thoughts and actions. So yes, if you fill your mind with the right thoughts, you can start thinking like the people you want to be like and start taking actions towards there and change. And you're like just this living, walking example of that. So
yeah, definitely.
You start listening to podcasts. How do you let your mind go into the possibility and the amazing things you're learning on these podcasts versus the reality of, oh my gosh, I'm homeless in a car with my pregnant girlfriend? Like, what was that balance like every day? That
balance was truly being confident within myself, and that confidence and ambition of that inner fire that I had within myself actually prevailed, which helped me. I knew how I wanted to live, and all I needed to do, which everyone struggles with, is just finding what's going to help you live the life that you want to live. If you want to be a millionaire, find the things that are going to make you become a millionaire, just like that. And I know that I wanted to become a millionaire, and I wanted to work with millionaires. So I kind of like pieced the puzzle together where it's like, okay, these millionaires are getting on podcasts. There's a reason why, so if I could affiliate myself and work with millionaires and say, hey, these other millionaires are getting on podcasts, you should too. So that it was like a slow step-by-step process of me just like rising up and working with these millionaires, eventually.
Now, this desire to better yourself and learn from millionaires and fill your mind with podcasts, this came after the 15 jobs and you're living in the car. What was it like as a kid? Did you have this dream as a kid to be in that space? What was that like growing up?
Yeah. So in high school, as a kid, my parents always told me, get a good job, get a high paying job, and your life will be amazing. I remember in high school where my classmates would talk to the teachers and the teachers would tell them, oh, what college are you going to? What job do you want? And I remember me sitting on my desk and just thinking, really, like these kids are going to go to college. They're most likely going to get into debt, and they're only probably going to get weekends off to live the life that they want to live. And maybe not even that. And looking back at my grandfather, he works 7 days a week or even 6 days out of the week. And I was just thinking about that. Is my life really going to be working for somebody, helping their dreams grow and flourish and, helping them rise up, and me being attached to a schedule every single day that I had to follow. And, if by chance, if I didn't follow the schedule, I would get, fired or something, like all those like big things that really mattered to my life, which was freedom. A job wasn't going to get me there.
Yeah. So it's almost like you already set yourself up for, that's not going to be my life. That's not what's going to work. And that's Definitely. An interesting twist onto how you ended up where you were. So you knew that about what you wanted.
Mhm.
Somehow you lost your way. Why do you think you were fired from 15 jobs?
I knew the value that I had, and the value that, that I had, I knew that I could do so much more. I can make a really, really big impact within the universe. And by working at those jobs, I don't know, I just did not feel valuable or, or treated as valuable. And don't get me wrong, I went all out on my jobs. I made sure that I was there every single day. There were a few times where I was sick and I had to, like, not go to work. But
Sure.
um, you know, I learned everything. I kid you not. Within the first 2 months of working at a job, or even a month, I would learn every single thing, and then it would just be like a simple routine for me every single day, and that's all it was. And I remember telling myself, is this it? Like, is this really going to be my life? Like, I'm not learning anything new. Like, I want to excel and exceed within, what I'm doing.
Yeah. So that makes sense why you would quit. Why fired?
Fired. There were times where I was still learning. And okay, so I'm going to tell you a story with this restaurant job on how I got fired a little bit. I just remember looking at all these people eating, on a Wednesday, Thursday, or even sometimes Tuesdays, every single day, like these frequent people, coming in every single day. And it was in the middle of the summer. And I was like, dang, I really want to live these people's lives. And my manager would catch me looking out the window, into this beach front where these boats would just be sailing, and, people laughing, smiling with their families, enjoying life, just enjoying life. And I wanted to live that life. I was depressed at the time, and I was still trying to find a way, to make my life just like everyone else is over there, just, happy.
Mhm.
And
So you literally were daydreaming. So you were
yes,
daydreaming. Yeah.
yes.
It's funny, Nathan, and I'm sure you've heard this. You work with so
Mhm,
many millionaires and amazing entrepreneurs. A lot of them,
mhm.
as kids, got in trouble in school for daydreaming. So
Yeah,
you were just doing that a little later.
yeah, definitely. And I got in trouble for it. And long story short, I would do that frequently here and there. And it just came to the time where, one of my managers said, hey, Nathan, you're doing this a lot. We no longer could have you here. And, just from that, that's how I got fired from that job. And I've always just wanted, to do more after that, like, okay, well, I didn't really like this job. I wanted something more, I wanted the life like the people there
Yeah.
at the restaurant.
Yeah, yeah. So you had a vision. I mean, that's what I'm
Yes.
hearing is you had a very clear vision. You had no idea how you were going to get there, but you were darn clear on your vision that you wanted this. So you do a really brilliant thing. It's so amazing that you knew to do this, that you started absorbing. If I don't know these people, if I'm not friends with them, I'm going to start
Mhm.
listening to them and learning from them, which is what you did, which is incredible. You start changing your mindset from what I understand. What's your girlfriend saying to you while you're doing all this? So while you're in this state of, I don't have a job, but I'm going to change my mindset. Was she supportive? Was she negative
Yes.
about it? What was happening there?
Yes. No matter where we were at, I'm so blessed to have her as my girlfriend, because no matter where we were at, she would always keep a smile on her face. Only because, like, she's used to it. In a way, her life was all about struggles, and no matter where they were at, they always prevailed. Like, she always prevailed with those struggles, and we were just going through a struggle, and she just knew we were gonna get out of it. And I remember after changing out of those public bathrooms, I would walk out of the men's restroom to going outside to seeing people like look at us like, hey, that couple just changed in that bathroom. To looking at my girlfriend's face, and she's just smiling at me, like she was very supportive and all this. Um, you know,
Mhm.
she truly loved me, and I'm truly blessed to have her, because
Mm.
I truly believe no other girl would really stick with me during that time of my life.
Daydreaming brings you to this. You've got the
Mhm,
support system, your girlfriend, you got a clear vision, and
mhm.
you are listening to all these podcasts. So when does this switch come where you're thinking, okay, I need to start reaching out to these people and I'm going to help them and they're going to now, that'll help me? Where did that come from?
Yeah, so it literally came within my first day of working the job, a bank, my 16th job at age 20. I was like, okay, Nathan, I have to get it this time. I've been trying to create this business, for a while already. I just couldn't break that code yet. I was not breaking that specific code needed to be broken in order to start this business. And so what I did was I was just starting to network with people. I remember my first sales call was with Ed Mylett. And I kid you not, it was my lunch break, a 30-minute lunch break. And I was in the parking lot, I had bad service. And I knew the only way that I was going to rise up was to actually only associate myself with the top people within the game. And that was going to, help me get a slingshot to the top, basically. And so my first sales call with Ed Mylett, 30-minute lunch break, and I had bad service. I remember calling him 3 times, but my phone was not ringing. It was just staying silent. And during the 4th time of calling, it wasn't ringing again. So I was joking in my car. I was saying, hello, 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 hello. And I kid you not, within 2 seconds after saying that, this is all you hear. This is Ed Mylett for the 3rd time. Like, I kid you not, like that scared me. I kid you not. His voice is so deep. It's crazy,
So, okay, well, wait, back up. How did you even know to get him? How'd you get his phone number? How'd you get him to listen to you? How'd this even happen?
By following up every single day, at least 3 to 4 times a day. I kid you not. I got him at a perfect time. He was still rising and getting on these podcasts and getting on these speaking events and barely starting to, bring out his fame. Like he wanted to be known, and I got him like right at the perfect time.
So he wanted to be known. So you have a vision that I'm gonna find these people that are doing podcasts and I'm gonna get them to do more, or was your vision I'm gonna find people not yet doing them that people have a story behind that I'm going to get them known? What was your exact vision with this?
Both. So if I can find someone who's already kind of known and already getting in the podcast, I'm pretty sure there's other podcast hosts that would want to interview that specific person. So I remember one day just going to Facebook, trying to find some potential prospects, and I see Ed Mylett. Me not knowing who Ed Mylett is, I kind of like went into his story and I was like, okay, this is a guy who I want to represent. So I messaged a perfect pitch. Well, I wouldn't say perfect pitch, but I messaged all of his social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I just kept on messaging his social medias. And then there's like a little hack where if you go to like their about within their social media platforms, like there's an email there that you could just copy and paste into your email or something. So I kept on using that email, kept on following up until one time, I'm not sure how it went. I think his assistant, it was his assistant that reached back out to me. And she said, hey, it seems like you're trying to get Ed Mylett on a few podcasts, definitely send us a proposal. And so I was like, okay. And then it got to the point where Ed Mylett was interested. He just sent me his direct number. And, ever since then, I went on that lunch break, from him saying, this is Ed Mylett for the 3rd time. I kid you not, I was stuttering. I was like, okay, Ed, sorry about that, and then he was like, I'm in Hawaii right now. It sounds to me like you're trying to get me on podcast. Just send me a proposal and then we'll get going from there. And I was like, okay, sounds great, And so it was like a quick and easy phone call. I didn't really say much due to the signal on my phone.
But did you know what podcast you were even going to get him on? Or are you just saying, this is what I want to do?
This is what I want to do. So once I found out that he was interested for me to send him a proposal, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to send you a proposal. I'm just going to go straight. I'm going to cut to the chase and straight bring you value. So I got him on a few podcasts, one with Kevin Harrington and another with Justin Shea. And then so basically that's kind of how it all started. I was still trying to rise up, and ever since then I got him on a few shows. I started using him as leverage. Hey, I got Ed Mylett on a few shows. So
you basically came up with, it wasn't necessarily an original need, but it was a need that maybe wasn't being met. These people want to get their stories out. They want to get known. They're at that right time, and you're going to be that bridge, that connection.
Definitely.
Yeah. So you do this first. And are you getting paid for this? Is this just something you're doing for free? Free work.
Free work. And
putting in the time.
Yes. And it was a lot of free work. I kid you not. A lot of free work. Then I started getting people on shows for free, building up that reputation, that credibility, and that leverage. So when people ask me, oh, who have you worked with? I'll say, oh, Ed Mylett, Danny Morel, Sam Bakhtiar, people like that, multimillionaires. And that's basically how it all started. And then podcast hosts starting to dive into me and saying, hey, you represent these people. Can you get them on my show? And then now I'm building my I'm building my podcast network.
Yeah.
Little by little by little by little.
And this is what I want people to hear, because when you're this passionate and on point with your vision, you're not even thinking about the money at this point. And that's what's so amazing. Like I find when people lead with the money in mind, that's not what works. And that's how you were raised. Get a high paying job, do this, lead with that. That didn't work. You went after a vision, and that was getting you up every day with your passion and your purpose. So
Definitely.
what people are wondering, what I'm wondering is, how are you paying your bills and becoming not homeless while you're not getting paid doing this? How did that happen?
So ever since I got that bank job, it brought me more, leverage for myself, because that bank was paying for my bills at the time.
Got it. Okay. So you have a job now paying bills, and you have a mindset of your vision. So it doesn't even matter that you're going to this job that you don't necessarily love, but you have this vision and you're on fire now. So that's trickling down. So you're getting paid by that. Okay.
Yeah. And then during that job, I remember telling a lie to my manager, saying that I had a weak bladder, and I would go to the bathroom at least 6 times a day just to respond back to prospects and to the mentor at the time that helped me, leave my job. And I remember him telling me, he said, "Nathan, 1 more month and you're going to leave your job." Wow. And then just by hearing that, I'm like, okay, let's get this going. So I'm super happy that, I met this mentor of mine, and he helped me actually quit my job. But also my other friends as well. I gave Ulysses Osuna a lot of props as well, because he taught me everything within this PR world.
Who did this? You have somebody who
Ulysses Osuna.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So he's a go-to guy when it comes to PR. I kid you not. And he taught me everything that I needed to know to quit my job as well. So
how did you meet him, and how did he end up helping you?
I met him a while back when he was first starting. It was a time when he was first starting Influencer Press. He was working with, I think he was working with Ben Lee at the time. He created a Snoop Dogg's app, and he was also working with Tonio Skits. He was working with Ryan Stewman, the hardcore closer at the time. And those guys, I didn't even know existed within that world. I remember he taught me everything that I needed to know, because I was actually working for him at the time. I was mostly learning. He was a mentor for me for a good year. And at the time, I really didn't see too much value in it. But after a year or two, I did. And I just used what he taught me and took action into that and say, hey, this is actually what I do need in order to excel.
Then what drives you now?
What drives me is to bring these powerful stories and bring them to the world that need it, basically. If I could get a powerful story and get that story to different media outlets so that an audience can listen to, so that they could be inspired and motivated to do more, then I truly, I'm truly happy for that. That's my passion. If I could help somebody, get motivated every single day, be inspired by listening to a podcast, then that truly brings me happiness, because it's what helped me every single morning when I was homeless. I would listen to a podcast episode every single morning after I would eat lunch and before I would go to bed, basically. That helped me keep a drive within myself, because, hearing these people's voices with these powerful stories, it ignited this inner flame within myself to keep going and to not quit. And by not quitting, here I am today.
And I love that mindset about you, because I think so many people would listen to those people and say, oh, that's for them, or they did it because, and you didn't even let that out of your brain. You just kept with, they're teaching, I'm going to learn. And you stayed in that mindset.
Definitely.
It's incredible. How do you view failures now?
Definitely learning lessons. I mean, it's just like science. If you mix one bad chemical with another bad chemical, you're going to get an explosion. But, if you mix a good one and a good one, eventually, you're going to learn from your mistakes and eventually find out which chemicals mix together. And so, I think that about business, or even personal life, when you make failures, you have an option. If you make that same failure again, that's a choice. And so I try my best, not to make it a choice. Whenever I do make a failure, I make it a lesson learned, and trying to find a way to alter it to make it better.
Wow.
And
was there any pivotal moment where you kind of looked around and said, dang, look what I did. Look at these people I'm associating with. Do you remember that pivotal moment?
To be honest, it has not impacted me at all yet. To be honest, I guess kind of when I got, honestly, yes. When I got Ed Mylett's phone number, I was like, you know what? I just got a freaking phone number from a guy who's 50 under 50, who's worth 400 million.
Wow. Like, let that sink in. Yes.
Yeah. For him to give me his phone number, you know, a 20-year-old that was recently homeless, but that's interested in what I have to offer, it's crazy. It's the best feeling in the world.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I don't know, but I'm guessing that a lot of these uber successful people, they've come from such humble beginnings that maybe there's something that relates to you and they want to help.
Yes. I truly believe, but my story as well, it's helped ignite a lot of fires to be remembered as. Like a couple of my clients, you know, they probably do remember how they started, and you know, just by me reaching out and, you know, telling them, you know, how I started, you know, just probably brought faith and trust within me that, you know, I am going to fulfill the job.
Yeah. Do you ever worry about what other people think?
Sometimes, when it revolves around me and my business and on how I do things. But sometimes I really don't. When it comes to criticism or when it comes to like people just talking bad behind my back, you know, it's just, I always just tell myself, I know how I want to live. You know, are these people going to stop me in how they live? Like they're just talking about me, but you know, not really at all. You know, I just keep a straight path to myself on my success, and that's all that I'm heading towards.
Yeah,
you know, no one's going to bring me down, and like this is my life, and I have a choice whether, you know, to make it the best life I possibly can, because people only live one life. You know, you got to make sure that you live it in the best possible manner.
Yeah. How do you start your days now? I mean, you're not in a car anymore. You've got a home. You've got a baby. You still listen to this podcast?
Yeah, by far. Yeah, definitely. How I start my days is through my to-do list, basically.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I have like a routine now that I'm getting into, this new routine where it's like, okay, wake up around like 6 a.m. and finish this to-do list. If I don't finish this to-do list that I have, then, you know, I don't get my sleep. So until I finish it, then I earn my sleep. And that's like what motivates me every single day. But yeah, basically my routine is, you know, check my emails, do my to-do list, and listen to a podcast around like around 9 a.m. basically, and just get my day going every single day and make sure that I'm driven. I'm driven for success.
What's your vision now, Nathan?
My vision now is to help as many people, you know, become the influencer they know that they could become, to help others make a positive impact within the world. And if I could do that by sharing someone's story to help them be looked at as the influencer that I know that they are, then, you know, it could help so many people and inspire so many people to do bigger and greater things for themselves.
And gosh, I want everybody to hear this, because you just have, you know, you kind of came into my life out of nowhere, and I've just really enjoyed talking with you and learning from you. And, you know, I don't even know how much you even realize. I mean, the things that you're doing, that you're living right now, that you've lived in this last year, is the exact formula that all of these major millionaires that I've interviewed, or these people that have overcome these crazy rock bottom places and achieved massive success. You've listed them all out. You're living them. You're doing it right now in the moment, and it's working for you. I mean, you said it all. You've had a vision. You spent time daydreaming and thinking about it. You had a support system. You had your girlfriend who believed in you. You fully leveled up by believing that I need to surround myself with people that want to play at a larger level. I mean, that is huge. I mean, you leveled up. You realized that you didn't let the crab suck you down. You know, you didn't let the crab suck you down. And then you're putting in the work. And the big thing you're doing, I don't even know if you know how well you're doing this, but it's amazing. What you're doing is you are not even thinking about yourself. You are out there adding value to others and lifting them up, and that trickles down, and you're getting the results of that. So own that. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, that's huge what you're doing.
By far, thank you. Appreciate it.
I do have a question for you. I'm going to say a question that I ask every guest. If somebody else is listening and they're in this situation, they're living in their car, they've lost their job, they're in a rock bottom spot, whatever it is, what are 3 pieces of advice that you would give them starting from this rock bottom spot right now?
Listen to a podcast.
Listen to a podcast. Yeah.
Yes, listen to a podcast and then find what you love to do and search on Google the top 10 people who do what you want to do. And then print out pictures and hang them on your wall or screenshot them on your phone and look at them every single morning and then learn their story. Every single one, learn their story. And trust me, by learning their story, you will eventually have your own story, which then you could progress.
Nathan, you're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for leveling up with us today. Please share this episode if you found it helpful so others can join in. And don't forget to hit that subscribe so you don't miss out on future shows. And if you would leave me a 5-star review, I appreciate those so much. I read all of them, and it's how I know that I'm giving you information that you find valuable. And come interact with me over on Instagram at NatalieJillFit. I read all the direct messages and comments over there. Make it a great day, creating everything from nothing.